morning we complete a two-part sermon series, BCN Is The Answer. Text is taken from the book of Acts, the 2nd chapter, and had all things in common. This morning I'd like to emphasize the difficulty of really believing the things which the church professes to believe, and which we as members profess to believe. The difficulty. In the church we serve God by participating in a communal fellowship built upon the divine commandment to love one another. Question is, are we able to transcend individualism and actually love one another? Deteriorating social conditions in which we live, crime, drugs, broken homes, AIDS, millions of black men in penitentiary, violence everywhere. It seems that love is realistically impossible for people who find it almost impossible to keep together the basic necessities of life itself. The church must create a framework, a social structure within which black people can love one another. Teaching communalism as a way of life gives the church a basic instrument to transcend individualism and to transform individuals. In BCN, communalism supplies the structure. The structure for the Christian church taken from the Acts of the Apostles, the New Testament, is communalism. Communalism supplies the structure for the church. A group of people living together, communally, loving one another, sharing everything they have, each one giving as he's able, receiving as he has need. So the first thing necessary is the communalism, the communal structure of the church. The signs of rebirth, cool, and the sacraments offer the disciplines which are necessary to transform people. The third, social action is a way to transform people, a Christian community, influences and changes the large community to bring us about. So we have communalism as the structure, cool as the sacraments as the disciplines necessary, and social action as a way of taking the message of the church to the larger community. The church calls together those who believe and places them in a community of believers who share a voluntary common commitment. When people join the church, they come into this voluntary association of people who have accepted a commitment both to God and to the other members of the church, the communal structure of the church. God must be experienced by believers. Important is that we remember that we're dealing here only with believers, as our text first pointed out, all who believe were together and had all things in common. We emphasize the necessity then for believers being associated together. God must be experienced by believers. We believe that the experience of God is necessary. But it's not enough just to say that somebody told me about God, that I heard a message, that I read it in the Bible. I hear people worshiping, and I understand from their testimony that they have experienced God. It's not sufficient. Each individual must experience God for himself. God must be experienced by believers. Only a believer can experience God. If you you don't believe in God, you cannot experience God. You don't believe in God, then the experience of the church, of worship, of music, offers no real inducement to experience God. God must be experienced by believers, associated together in groups. Which transmit the power of God through the church. Groups which transmit the power and energy of God. Remember that we are energy beings. We must open ourselves, permitting our tiny spark of incarnation, of incarnate divine energy to be touched by the cosmic power of transcendent intelligence of God in the mystical Kubasana experience. We deal with a mysterious transmission of power from God, God who is an energy, source of all energy, to individuals who, together in the church, in a group, are open to receive the power which comes from God. BCN is the answer because the church has the basic structure and healing rituals necessary to transform black people so they can confront their problems and solve them. Communalism is the structure, but it's not automatic. Communalism, the church structure, is communal, but it's not automatic. We do not automatically accept communalism by saying we accept communalism. We are transformed not by what we say, but by the living example, by the living community. Not by what we say, but what we say we believe, but by the things we actually do. Not enough to live together and say we are communal. We must live communally. The book of Acts describes life in the New Testament church as all who believe were together and had all things in common. All who believe were together and had all things in common. In the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church in each region we have the Missionary Training Institute, Missionary Training Centers where members live together and share communally the basic things which make a communal society. The fellowship, the dining room, fellowship activities, school, classes, devotionals, social action. All these things make of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian churches communal institutions, missionary training institutions in which people live together communally, sharing a communal budget, sharing communal activities, sharing a communal feeling. As black people, we are enslaved and exploited through the ruthless use of institutional power to establish and maintain white supremacy. We are enslaved by the ruthless use of institutional power to establish and maintain white supremacy. We are victims of a negrization process, utilizing outward conditions means to reward those who do the things that the oppressor wants, and punish those who do the things that the oppressor does not want. So that we become automatically tuned to do the things that the oppressor requires of us. We can see that this last week when the minister of Hartford Memorial Church mentioned that one of the political candidates, Dennis Archer, was basically committed to white people. That he was a part of the suburban effort to take over the city to control black people in the city. And so, in a very ordinary kind of presentation that was obvious to anybody who was there. And yet, a group of black preachers came together and denounced that bringing of race into the political campaign. Now, it's ridiculous to say that anybody can bring race into a campaign that's basically racial. Detroit's efforts to stay alive, Detroit's efforts to maintain some kind of reasonable position surrounded by enemy or hostile suburbs makes it necessary to raise in any campaign. But they came together, they were photographed. White folks had a very nice time photographing them for the evening news. But obviously they do not understand simple fact that institutional power is held by white people and is used to maintain white supremacy. That is the TV cameras, the TV programs, everything, the newspaper reporting, all of it was a part of the white community's efforts to maintain white supremacy. And we then are victims of negrization, and there were no more obvious victims of negrization than a group of about 15 innocents standing there testifying that they did not believe in race. A process of negrization which has rendered most black people incapable of rational thought or rational action. Most black people automatically react in terms of what they have learned. Now, the white man is very thorough in teaching us how to think. He teaches us to think that anything that he believes is correct. Anything he does not believe is incorrect. Teaches us to try to support anything that we think he wants us to support, and to fight against anything that we think he does not want us to support. In a political campaign, it's been very obvious in this election. Newspapers, the TV, everyone representing the white community, suburban white organizations, all have conspired to try to advance the candidacy of one man. Then start to represent their best interests and will, if he takes office, do the things that they want done for their interests, for the interests of white people in the suburbs, to maintain white supremacy. And we have to remember at all times when we engage in any kind of activity that we're dealing with an institution, and the institution's power is established and maintained to perpetuate white supremacy. That's true of the slave culture, the things that black people engage in and think they're doing something for themselves. They're usually engaged in an activity which perpetuates white supremacy. That's what we call it the slave culture. The culture in which black people live is a slave culture. A culture designed to perpetuate white supremacy. We say the slave culture is a black culture, black people. Black lawyers are predominantly controlled by the court system of which they are part. The court system of which they are part is a white system. It's perpetuated to see that white supremacy is maintained. That's not to condemn a black lawyer, but it's to say that he's functioning in a situation which was not created for his benefit, but for his destruction. A good black lawyer is a very rare individual and has a very difficult position to maintain, because he's fighting, trying to make a black institution in the middle of a white institution which was created for his destruction. The same is true of almost all other aspects of the black community. Black business basically exists for white people. A white man may be operating a store or may be running in a store, but basically the store, the economic system is for white people. And we have to understand that when we participate in economics in America or any place in the world, we're not participating in anything that was designed to benefit black people. Economics, the stores, the factories, railroads, steam line, everything is designed for the benefit of white people, to maintain white supremacy. Now, most black people, even if they realize that it's true, do not want to believe it. You hate to think that you live in a society which was set up to destroy you. That your children go to schools that were designed not to educate them, but to cripple them for life. You hate to believe it because it's true, and if it is true, you say, well, what can I do about it? It's better not to believe it. It's better to pretend that it doesn't exist. Pretend that white people are our friends. That what white people do for us are those things that we need done for us. That they're doing it for our best interest. It's easier to believe that than it is to realize that what the white man does is done for his interest. It's his interest alone. And it's done to destroy black people, to cripple black people, to deprive black people, and to destroy the possibilities of life for black children. This is the kind of world that we live in. And if you can't understand that kind of world, you're in trouble. You're in trouble on the job because you do not understand that you're not working for yourself. You're working for white people. And you go to work only as long as your work meets the needs of white people. The man who controls the factory does not care a bit about what happens to you. You can see that in the way he operates the plant, of the way he operates the factory, who he promotes and who he fires. But you feel sometimes that you are a part of this, that this is all part of yours, and you feel proud when you come into the plant. This is our plant. Our plant. Do not be mistaken, it is not our plant. It's his plant, and you only permitted in there for a very short period of time. You can see the big companies across the country, across the world, will fire people right and left. People being laid off, not a few people here and there, but a big company that was important enough to be considered rocket revolver for white people. They said they're going to lay off 50,000 employees in the next 6 months. Now you think, well, that company must be going out of business. They're not going out of business. They are increasing their business. They are going to produce more without the 50,000 than they were creating with 50,000. Now it's true that all of those in that plant who were black will be among the 50,000 who laid off. And that makes no difference. They would lay off anybody, white, black, green, or red, makes no difference, because the plant exists for white people, for their benefit, and not for ours. So we read in the paper the large number of people who are being laid off and wonder how they can continue to manufacture, because they have created a whole new system of manufacturing. Manufacturing is not what it used to be. I mean, you know, a few years ago, any black child mess up all the way through high school, trying to get out some kind of way, and he always get a job in the factory. Because the factory needed black people. Factories had to have, the factories are always open. Anybody, some of you who've been in the factory a long time, you know that when you went in, you didn't know a thing. But you were able to stay there, you were able to learn enough to be a benefit to the white man, or you wouldn't have kept it. But it's not true. The factories are not like that. They had to hire anybody. They had to hire anybody who would put in the time, put up with the nastiness of the job, and do the work. They had to. But they had to keep the machines turning so that their profits would continue to come in. But it's not so anymore. They don't need you on the job. You may think they do. You may wish they did. They don't. And if your factory or your business is not yet announced how many they're going to lay off in the next year, they will. And in all probability, you'll be one of those laid off. I can say, I don't believe that. I don't believe a white man is like that. He wouldn't live with it. The white man would lay off black people like that for no reason. He got a reason. You know, that's what we fail to understand. He got a good reason. He knows exactly why he's laying off, because he doesn't need them. He can't even hire all his own people that he would like to hire. He's laying off white people. Now, when you see a white man get laid off, don't feel sorry. Feel sorry for yourself. You can't last long. If he's laying off white people, you know how long you are there for. Not very long. We live in a society, a culture that's dominated by what white people want. That's why it becomes increasingly difficult to know what black person is listening to. See, black people are stupid not by birth, but by training. We learn how to be stupid. Now, you may not know that you've been learning, but you have been learning very carefully. How to be stupid. How to do all the things that are opposing your own best interest all the time. Now, you have to learn that people are naturally doing that. You wonder why you probably are wrong on everything you think. The newspaper comes out with something, you say, yeah, I guess that's right. So damn well it's not right. wish you didn't. You can't think of it like that, but somebody teaches you to think of it like that. No, we all worry, but you know, Haiti is not acting. They are not acting able. Our president told them what to do. He told them very simply what to do. And they're not doing it. Now it's hard for us to understand, of course, why anybody would do what the president told them to do. Look like that didn't have to think. Look at the president that put this man back in office. Set up elections, and we'll tell you how to do it. We'll tell you who to elect to. And it looks like they will not accept that. They carry on so down there in the water front that they had to take that great big steamship. USA written all over, they had to steam out of the And that hurt white people too. You know, black people in America who learn to be stupid find it very difficult to comprehend world news anymore. Why would they do this? America said they were going to take care of it. They're going to set up some care packages. They're going to take care of it if they just act right. Even there's other towns that they get ready to put back in office, and he don't want it. He knows that if they put it back, they're going to kill it. He knows it. If you've been in America long enough, he'd be stupid enough not to know it. But he does not know that he has learned to be stupid, and he knows that if all the time puts him back in all that, they're going to kill him. I don't know whether they kill him or not. That's it. If he got stupid on long distance, then he's going to have to pay the price, just like we're going to pay the price. You can't be stupid and have pain. If you're stupid, you're going to pay the price. He's going to pay the price. White people were mad too when they skipped at the Shema Fire. White people have a great sense of pride. They'll do little things for you. They'll give you care packages. But don't embarrass them in front of the world. All they had out there, they couldn't land that one little ship that made those people in it. A bunch of hoodlums on the dock said you can't go land here. So they had the hoodlums or they would have been stupid, you know what I mean? It takes a certain kind of hoodlum not to be stupid in the middle of a white man's work. They said you're not going to land here. It made so much of a ruckus about it that the ship had to steam out the harbor and make all white people feel bad. Now I feel sorry about President. I really do. But I wanted him to get elected, and I thought he was going to do the best he could. I think he has done the best he could. It's just difficult to do anything sensible when you're white. I don't really hold it all against him, but I think he's fine. You see him do the real thing, he walk up and down, and rain his hand, walk into the rose garden, and other garden, they got trying to say, why are you trying to do this? It sounds so simple. Just like he's trying to have free trade all over the American continent. Canada, America, South America, Mexico. Now that's reasonable. The Congress is advocating that generation century. And he said we're going to do that and get a treaty signed. We're going to do it. But every dumb white man in America is against it. He's against it. Why? We ain't going to do that because they're going to take our jobs and give them to them Mexicans. That's what they're going to do. That's all they're trying to do. Take our jobs and give them to them Mexicans. But we don't really care. Now, you may think you care about them taking our jobs. But they're not our jobs they're taking. It's white folks' jobs they're taking. And they're going to take white folks' jobs and give them to Mexicans. Now, I think the job is one step closer up when they give it to the Mexicans than it was before. Or maybe you feel bad. You hate to see them down, running down to Mexico. What do you do? out, not to look in. Give it all to Mexico. God is there most to give all the jobs to Mexico. That we go to Mexico, we got a better chance of getting them in than we do with them here. There are a lot of people in the world that are not white, who is a lot easier to get along with than white people are. But they will make them all so stupid pretty soon that we'll be anybody in the world we can get along with except ourselves, and then we won't be able to get along with ourselves because we'll be so stupid that we'll do everything the white man wants us to do. It's how it works. Nothing more sacred than the liberation of black people. That is all is to do. Anytime you do something benefits the white man instead of us, then we need to get rid of you too. Liberation of black people is not just something we do, just a few white people, just as an example. Anybody who's blocking black progress needs to be dealt with. You saw those preachers on TV that denounced bring racism into this campaign. The next morning, they all had a whole bunch of hoodlums on every one of their doorsteps, beating them up as they came out. After the only people who do that would be those who were not stupid. And to be not stupid, they would be okay on my white people. So we had to get, those that were still had free use of their mind, but they had to go down and beat them up, but they threatened to beat them up, scared them to death. But if a black man runs around doing what the white man wants him to do long enough, he gets double stupid. He thinks it's going to work. Everything the white man's doing is failing. He's losing control of the world. He doesn't know what to do with the things that happen. He's making all kinds of mistakes. So you're saying, I know he knows what he's doing. That message has been exploded. The white man does not know what he's doing except he will try to maintain white supremacy at any expense. Whatever it costs. You have to think about it. I know it's kind of hard, right? Now we are conditioned. We weren't born to who we were made to. That's our condition. But the white man praises us when we do what we ought not to do. And condemns us when we do what we ought to do. He's teaching us what to do. He's teaching us. Our condition. That's the more sacred liberation of black people. One of the first things that black people have to do is throw off stupidness that we've learned from white people. Learn that black people can put together some things themselves and try to think out what they're going to do. Now we're going to make mistakes. A lot of things, the woman running against Dennis Archer is perfect. Yeah. I think she's more perfect than he is. She's got enough nerve not to be trying to do exactly what the white folks wanted to do. They tried their best to get her to denounce Reverend Adams, who supported her, but denounced white people. They tried their best, she wouldn't do that. That's a good sign. That means that she got in, maybe she can do a few other things. She's a way better candidate than Dennis. Way better candidate. Black people would know that if we hadn't had such a brainwashing and stupidity. It doesn't make any difference who candidate is. We can look at 100 candidates and rank them all without any real effort. If they do what they think white people want them to do, then they're bad. They're just the bottom of the list. Get rid of them. Beat them up. Do what's necessary to get rid of those towns who try to hide behind being good thinkers. Nothing more sacred than the liberation of black people. Now we got to remember that. It's nothing more sacred than anything that we have to do to liberate black people ought to be done. But we got to do it pretty quick. But conditions are getting worse and worse. You know that, don't you? You say, well, I got my job. You ain't got it for too long. You got it. Nothing more sacred than the liberation of black people. We got to break the chains of our operating condition. That means we've got to wipe out this condition the white man has put on us, this dumbness that he's taught us. We've got to regain the ability to think and to act in our own best interest. Now that may not seem hard to you. Look like you can do that without doing that, but you can't. You buy a car and he tells you to buy it. You buy a house and he tells you to buy it. He tells you now you can get a new mortgage, you go get a new mortgage. You do everything he tells you to do. That's being stupid. The white man is in control, but he's not doing us any favor. No way at all is he doing us any favor. And why do we keep on working so hard to keep him satisfied now? We got to have groups. That's what everybody needs to be in a group. Stay here trying to like the house. Everybody's got to be in a group. You got to be in a group. I don't need a group. Them dumb niggas, they need a group. I don't need a group. You do need a group. You need a group to tell you what you're doing wrong, to tell you what you're stupid. You ain't gonna do that by yourself. You need a group. Say you got 10 people, they watch you all the time. Every time you come into a meeting with something the white man taught you, some stupid thing that he taught you, and you try to advance it as something really man of your own, you gotta have 9 people tell you you're crazy. You say, that ain't me. That ain't me. I don't do that. Yes, you would. You do it. You are doing it. You need a group. And it's hard to keep a group on. Hard to keep a group on. The group will jump off and do something real stupid itself. See, we fall back on individualism. Now, I'll do that. It'll help me. It may not help the group, but it'll help me. That if I think it's going to help me, and you think it's going to help you, and you think it's going to help, that's 3 of you who's not in the group anymore, right? Okay, then you have to keep talking sometimes. Wait. You can't go like this because you're going to get the individual. You're getting into the group. You're getting back to the dumb position of the white man. You can't do that. And if they keep on, then you got to get rid of it. Okay, you're not in this group anymore. Out! Get rid of it. Take them out. You know what you do is, well, they look like they get along pretty good, and they're against the group. Maybe I go against the group too, then there's 4 of them. Then there's 5 of them. You tend to go along with whoever seems to get along individually. Individualistically, you're going to try to get what you can for yourself. That's just going to save you the liberation of black people, not the liberation of upper town. The liberation of black people. And you have to do something when you see somebody getting ready to destroy that. When somebody's getting stupid, tell them. If they continue to get stupid, don't have anything to do with them and expose them. Tell everybody, that's a hump town. You don't want to do that. That's not right. White people don't like that. That's what they call brave racism in the campaign. If you tell, just announce the town, this is a little town. He's not right. He's not on our side. He's going to destroy us. Already he's trying to do things that are opposed to our interests. He's not on our side. You got to get rid of that. That's racism, right? If you afraid of racism to that extent that you can't denounce another town when you see one, then you give it up. You have created the kind of stupidity that can lead only to the grave. You can't last. You can't live too long. You're too stupid to live. God works in the group as the instrument of change. The group can work if you make sure that the group doesn't get stupid. A group can get stupid too, Everybody in the group are working for themselves. Like high-line group make the group think that they're working for the group. But working for themselves. So then you got a stupid group. They're going to get what they want. And they're going to make you think that the group is working for you, and it is a group. It's a part of you. We're a part of your group. You set us up there. And now what are we doing? We're doing whatever the white man wants us to do. So, then you're no longer a group. You've been destroyed. Too dumb to be a group now. You got to cover. You got to expose. See, one of the things that we have to do, which we have not done too thoroughly those who work for the interest of white people instead of the interest of black people. The basis of the relationship between the church and the world depends upon the church's conception of salvation. Now, the old-time church, the church out there in the street, everywhere that you see, their conception of salvation is to get to heaven. Take you away from here and get you to heaven, then you're saved. Now, that ain't a peculiar kind of salvation. You got to die to get it. I want to be saved, then you want to die. You can't get that kind of salvation unless you die. I want to be saved. I want to live a decent kind of life here on earth. That's salvation. That's the kind of salvation that we talk about here in the shrine of God's time. Kind of salvation that makes a decent place to live, a decent place to work. Where you don't run around all that one what the white man's going to make you do next, but you start getting something together that you can do for yourself. The black man has got to come to the realization that doing what the white man wants is not brilliant, it's stupid. Basic relationship between the church and the world depends upon the church's conception of salvation. And we say social action is necessary. That is, to do those things. Social action means that we do those things that are not in the interest of the white man, but in the interest of black people. You take social action everywhere. You in a grocery store that's charging too much. You need social action. Take it. He needs to learn he can't do that. He says, well, you got to go too far to get to the white store, but I can do it. Well, we don't see what you do. I think you try to act. Social action is necessary to teach white people and teach a whole lot of black people that they can't get away with being stupid as far as we're concerned. Traditional black church doesn't understand the nature of salvation at all. All you can think of is going to heaven and eating on Uncle Joe and Aunt Sue and having barbecue and chicken fried and all that stuff. That's the kind of salvation they're looking for. A salvation that a white God sets up for and keeps it for until they get there. That's salvation. That's not salvation. That Uncle Tom has been raised to a religious level. That's not salvation. Nowhere in the Bible does God promise that kind of salvation. Salvation has to do with building something for black people right here. Building something for black people building for black people fighting against the discrimination and exploitation of white people. Everyone on the escape to heaven does not touch the problem of 20th century black reality. If they took it all to heaven, they just have a big problem in heaven. Which is ridiculous because nobody's thinking about taking us anyway. Whatever we do is right down here. God did not promise He's going to lift us all on wings and take us off to glory. Our glory is going to be such glory that we can feel right here. You may think you don't want that kind of glory. You want the kind of glory that the white man can give you. You're willing to take whatever He gives and say, I think there'll be enough of the white glory in it to make me happy. Well, if that's what you want, stay with it. But you're not going to have glory here on earth or in heaven, but you're not going to have anything in heaven. You do know there is no heaven, don't you? Not off the sky, but the only heaven that you can get together is what you can put together here. Well, you got sense enough to make something that you can call heaven. Heaven is what you'd like to have, the way you'd like to live, the friends you'd like to be with. The whole thing that you could put together for yourself here on earth, that's heaven. There's no heaven off someplace in the clouds where some white man's going to take care of it until we can get there. You see how He takes care of it here. If He's up there, He's going to take care of it. He's not going to take care of it. If we get there, people work, sweat, stand around trying to get there. When you get there, you go, you're disappointed. Now, we like to think. You was working in heaven. You're going to be what we call a slave class in heaven. Forget it. Even if the boy wanted to go to, forget it. You wouldn't like it when you get there. So we know that we want God to do something for us. There's nothing wrong with that. We'd like God to do something for us. But you have to consider what kind of God it is. God is an energy God. Cosmic energy created himself everywhere. Like this room is full of God. You say you can't see it. You've never seen God. Nobody ever saw God. You ever read about anybody saw God? Not in the Bible. Nobody ever saw God. Even those who associated with God, talked with God, like Moses, they never saw God. Nobody ever saw God. Did they? You ever seen him? No. There is no such thing as a God that you can see. You know what the Israelites said God they could see. They went and melted a whole lot of metal together and made a golden calf. That's the God you can see, right? You want a God you can see, you got to make it. Make it out of wood, make it out of tin, make it out of dirt, make it out of clay, make it out of anything. If you want a God you can see, you got to make it. Don't be afraid of that. The Jews were afraid. They would have made them a God and then have a big party. And Moses coming down and what is that sound? That's no party. That's no reparation for battle. That's a party. They have a good time. Went down there, they were worshiping the golden calf, having a ball. So they have God they can see. And we like that. You want a God you can see, don't you? You can't see God, you get this very discouraged sometimes. And the closest thing you can see that looks like God is a white man. So you try to go over him hoping that he will lead you to God. He ain't going to lead you to God. If he had a pathway to God, he wouldn't take you. He's not going to lead you to God. If you want to find God, you got to make it right here on earth. Now, why are you so afraid to try to make a heaven on here on earth? Why can't make the heaven here on earth? You want that. Everything that you want it, and you want it, and it's heaven for you. A big cruise ship you can go on and act rich in 2 weeks. And starve for the rest of the year. That's white man's heaven that he prays for you. Or you get a big house. Big house. With a whole lot of stuff in it. That gets to be like that when you go out and look at it, you know. That's my thing. Belongs to me. For how long? Not too long. Not too long. But when you can stand there and point to it and say that's mine, you feel good. White man is made for heaven. Don't wait for the white man to make you heaven. They got a little heaven of your own. When after the Civil War, the black men was talking about all I wanted 40 acres and a mule. That was closer to heaven than we've been since. 40 acres and a mule, you could live. You could have a house. You could marry, raise children. You could live. It was 40 acres and a mule. That was his heaven. Since then, we got big ideas, we got stupid. We want everything the white man's got, and you know we can't get it. He had a hard time getting it. He had to steal and everything else to get it and keep it. And he's still stealing to keep it. But he's not going to let you have it. We've got to figure out what it is that we can do to build heaven. Build something for ourselves. Don't be so stupid the white man come on and make us dissatisfied with what we have, what we put together, what we made. He gonna tell us, that ain't you ought to see what we got over here. And he show you what he's got over there, what's that got to do with you? That's what he's got over there. And what you got right here is what you got right here. That's yours. And you can keep it. You can protect it. Be proud of it. Don't get dissatisfied with what you're doing. You got something better for you all. Way off there. Better. It may be better, but it's way off over there. And I'll never be there. And I'm here, so I take this right here. White man would say, I'm stupid. got things that I can do down here to make this heaven, to make this heaven on earth for black people. You can't do it by yourself. You live in the community of Jesus, make the kingdom of God on earth. The covenant of God to be his people, he will be our God. In the church we serve God by participating in the communal fellowship, communal society. If we get 100 black people to work together, to share, to build what they can here on earth, 100 black people will have the taste of heaven. If you get 100 black people not worried about what the white man says, about his condemnation, about his tricks, but we've been willing to do something for black people in terms of 100 black people do this together. 100 black people have created heaven. You can say, well, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be there. I don't like anything all black. Including your mom on that. We've got to do this for ourselves, and you've got to decide just what kind of stupidity you want to have. What kind of stupidity? Now, for 40 years, we've been trying to put something together for ourselves. A whole lot of black people said all through that 40 years, them niggas are crazy. They're crazy. They don't want to know. Them niggas are crazy. Some all black. A black God, a black Jesus. We never said God was black, but we know God is not a person. God is energy. And energy is either white or black, and you know when you turn on an electric light. It's a hard thing to get black folks to realize that they just got to build it. We got to build it. And only one by one people stop being stupid. Usually when they visit at the shrine or talk to somebody in the shrine, have a whole lot of trouble with white people when they begin to say, now, there's nothing wrong here. Then you come to the shrine, walk down the aisle, and you're on. We'll help you build here on earth the kind of heaven that you need. The only kind of heaven you're ever going to find. We will help you build it, help you keep it. And you don't have to be stupid to do it. Just keep aware of what's happening, keep aware of what the white man is doing, and don't let him get his hooks on it. And if you see out of 100 black people put it together, he's coming, he's wheedled his way in, and he's got it clutching on one. You get one side to talk crazy, take him out. Denounce him. Make him wear all the time on his jacket. We've got to build for ourselves here on earth those things that are necessary. And we can do it. I could go on and on, but it wouldn't help much with it. If you're stupid, you're going to stay stupid. And I love you anyway, you know that. That's the funny thing about me. I love stupid people everywhere. I don't care how stupid you get. They laugh at you, but I don't put it in front of you. I do it behind your back. I won't laugh at you in front of you. I'll say, that's the stupidest thing that I ever saw, and I'm laughing. And I ain't going to say it to your face, because I know I said it to you line. You would want to, somebody call you stupid out loud where a white people might hear. I would not want to do it. I would say, you act stupid, you want to. Even if I say act stupid, I'm not going to say anything to anybody. I just say you. Well, this is our 40th anniversary. I started last night working on my sermon for the 80th anniversary. come into the nation